It's not hyperbole, it's reality. Think about a grand old house that's been neglected for years. This might still look impressive, but inside the walls are cracking, the roof leaks, and the whole place feels unsafe. That's what's happening to many major cities right now. It's not just about any one city. This sense of decline is spreading. It's the feeling that these places, once symbols of progress and opportunity, are losing their way. Picture this: news reports in 2023 about package thieves swarming delivery trucks in broad daylight in Los Angeles, or the viral videos in 2022 of organized shoplifting sprees decimating stores in San Francisco. It's not just the crime itself, it's the sense that once familiar rules of society no longer seem to apply. In Paris, London, you hear the same things: rising violent crime, a sense of disorder. Many cities grapple with growing homelessness encampments, transforming once vibrant public spaces. All of this adds up to a feeling that things aren't how they should be. Don't get me wrong, there are still thriving cities around the world that show it can be done differently. Places like Singapore cities in Japan and elsewhere demonstrate that safe, clean, well-organized urban centers are possible. But across much of the Western world, we've lost that balance. Policies meant to address social issues have in some cases created unintended consequences. Well-intentioned reforms haven't produced the desired results. It's forcing us to confront the question: how do we make our cities work for everyone, ensure both opportunity and public safety? This decay of our cities isn't just about perception or bad press. It has real-world consequences. Businesses reconsider where they locate their headquarters, impacting local economies. Tourists choose safer destinations. People who can afford to simply move away, leaving cities increasingly hollowed out. It's a vicious cycle, and one that's difficult to reverse. The solutions won't be easy and they won't be quick, but the first step is acknowledging that we have a widespread problem, not just isolated incident. Imagine living in a city where simply walking down the street feels like a gamble. Checking your surroundings, constantly clutching your bag, avoiding certain areas at night. This is the reality for many in cities with escalating crime. It's the fear of having your sense of security snatched away, along with your phone or wallet. That simple act of being robbed, even a non-violent one, shatters your feeling of safety in a way that's hard to explain. This kind of anxiety erodes the very fabric of a community. The problem is compounded in places where crime seems to have lost its sting. Take the 2023 trend of brazen car break-ins in cities across the US. Windows smashed, valuables grabbed with little fear of real consequences. Or the policy shifts in California that made theft under $950 a misdemeanor. While perhaps born out of good intentions, these changes have sent a clear message. Crime pays as long as you keep it under a certain dollar amount. Stores get looted, ordinary folks feel like the law isn't on their side, and criminals are emboldened to go further next time. It's not about wanting to lock everyone up. It's about restoring a sense of balance. When consequences are minimal, crime flourishes. This makes it harder to run businesses, which hurts the overall economy. Insurance rates soar, some stores simply shut down. This decay spreads to other areas. People who feel unsafe become more isolated, less likely to participate in their communities. It took New York City a long time to climb out of its high crime era, and that wasn't just about more police. It was about sending a clear social message that the city wouldn't tolerate lawlessness. The true impact of rising crime can't be measured solely in statistics. It's the empty storefronts, the deserted streets after dark, the constant unease that eats away at a place's vitality. It's the elderly woman afraid to leave her apartment because she's seen the news reports. It's the business owner who relocates because their employees don't feel safe walking from the train station. When fixing the problem is labeled as tough on crime, we lose sight of the fact that rising crime is tough on everyone living within its shadow. Think of inflation as a relentless monster, always hungry and gobbling up the value of your money. Even if your paycheck stays the same, the prices of everything you need rise steadily, leaving you struggling to keep up. Each time you fill your gas tank, head to the grocery store, or face another bill, you feel that squeeze. While everyone knows about inflation intellectually in 2023 and into 2024, it's becoming painfully obvious how it translates to less buying power for regular people and businesses. Inflation's most insidious impact is on those big goals. Home ownership, a decent retirement, even just being able to afford necessities without anxiety. Housing costs have been stubbornly high throughout 2023, dashing the dreams of first-time buyers and squeezing renters alike. Meanwhile, the sticker shock at the grocery store makes once ordinary food items feel like luxuries. Car insurance, utilities, all these costs keep climbing in 2024, putting a constant strain on household budgets. Every extra dollar spent is a dollar cut from something else, from savings, from experiences, from that little bit of breathing room. The Fed, our economic firefighter, has been battling this inflation blaze for over a year. Everyone was hoping the flames would start to die down by now, giving everyone some relief. We all heard talk of interest rate cuts in 2024, which would have made borrowing less expensive, perhaps cooling off the housing market and easing other costs. Unfortunately, that optimistic plan is now in doubt. Inflation suggests even harsher measures might be needed. Instead of lower rates, we might see higher rates which will hit consumers and businesses where it hurts. Inflation isn't just about individual hardship. It impacts the overall economic health of the nation. When people's money doesn't go as far, they spend less. This means businesses struggle, with some potentially being forced to close or cut workers. Higher interest rates stifle investment, making it harder for businesses to expand and create jobs. Fear of a stalled economy casts a heavy shadow across stock markets in 2024. In short, inflation isn't just a number on a chart, it's a drag on everyone's plans, from the small business owner trying to keep the lights on to the young couple who can no longer imagine affording a house. Picture interest rates as a set of adjustable gatekeepers. When they're low, the gate swings open, making it much easier to borrow for significant purchases. Think of a mortgage. A lower rate lets you either afford a nicer house or have lower monthly payments. The same goes for a car loan or financing for a growing business. However, with each interest rate hike, that gate creaks further shut, making those major goals harder and harder to reach. The housing market is ground zero for the impact of rising rates. In 2023 and 2024, as borrowing becomes more expensive, the number of potential buyers dwindles. This could finally create a much-wished-for cooling of sky-high home prices. Sounds good at first, right? The problem is, a sudden drop in value is devastating news for existing homeowners. It means the biggest asset most people own is suddenly worth much less, eating away at their hard-earned equity. If values plummet too fast, some who bought recently could end up underwater on their mortgage, owing more than their house is worth. Think of interest rates as the tide. When they go up, it doesn't just impact mortgages and car loans. Businesses of all sizes feel the pinch too. They pay more to borrow money for expansion, new equipment, or simply to keep the lights on. The only way for them to survive is to raise their prices, passing those increased costs onto their customers. This is why seemingly everything seems to cost more right now. It's the unseen hand of interest rates driving the surge in prices at the grocery store, the gas station, even for services like haircuts. Rising rates don't just hit those planning major investments. Imagine you already have a significant amount of variable rate debt, such as credit cards or a home equity line of credit. As rates climb, those monthly payments start creeping up too. Suddenly, money that was budgeted for essentials gets gobbled up by debt servicing, creating a financial squeeze that can leave people drowning. The ripple effects we might see. Here are some potential consequences of inflation continuing and rates staying high. The squeeze on banks. Think of those huge commercial real estate deals done when money was cheap. They can't be refinanced now, leading to bankruptcies and banks getting stuck with bad loans. Even the government costs more to run when rates are high. Refinancing our massive debt at these new rates gets scary expensive. That limits what the government can do to actually help people. Periods of high inflation or high interest rates generally mean a rough stock market. This hurts retirement accounts and makes it harder for businesses to raise money to grow. This isn't doom and gloom, it's just reality. And unfortunately, a lot of these problems are interconnected, and there's no single magic solution.